history of one of the biggest rivalries in football, it may never get this big again. The final USA-Mexico World Cup qualifier in the United States for 8 years has the stakes high. It's the third meeting between these two neighbor rivals in 2021. The USMNT taking the first two and getting to lift trophies. Friday in Cincinnati, the most important chapter of the year. The USA go for the sweep, El Tri for control of the road to Qatar. It's the El Tri Online Soccer OG USA-Mexico preview show. It is the third meeting this year. As we all know, the United States won the first two, and we're thrilled to be here. There's the stadium. We're at the pitch, Cincinnati. If you're in the city, come on by. American Outlaws have an event. There's a U.S. soccer event. We're here for the next hour to talk this game. My name is Max Bretos, the Soccer OG. My good friend Ramon Chavez. Ramon, it's pretty cool to be here now.
Oh, man, I'm thrilled to be here next to the Ohio River and with this beautiful stadium right behind us. Just from the outside, I haven't gotten the chance to go inside, but just by looking at it from the outside, it's an incredible stadium, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we'll be getting out there pretty soon. I know no one's more excited. Super mojado. Split it down the middle. You got USA,
sir.
You got Mexico.
USA, Mexico represented me. I tenía que bring this mask. I had to bring this mask because look at it.
Looks great. Who are you pulling for, though?
Oh, man. I'm an American citizen now, so I'm very
Okay. We've got him on our side, ladies and gentlemen. Super mojado.
Listen, I'm neutral. Listen, and I made it here finally.
You got here today.
I had to cross the 3 lakes. I lost my wallet in the Michigan lake, so I had to go back. But I'm finally here.
We're glad you're here, Mojado. We have a lot to cover. We'll talk about the game. We'll talk about the particulars. We'll talk about the players. We'll talk about Ohio. We'll talk about the pitch. Come on down here. It's fantastic. And I was in the stadium. Man, it is beautiful. It gets a feeling of being like a Bundesliga stadium that you would see. 26,000 seats. Check out the Soccer OG podcast. I talked to Joe Rodriguez of El Tri Online, Tom Gallerter of FC Cincinnati. We'll give you all the background for the stadium and the city. We've never been here before. Cincinnati was not a soccer town. You would never think USA Mexico. And it's happened so quickly. We're here, Ramon.
No, and that's one of the things that's surprising. Like, everyone's so welcoming. Everybody's already a soccer fan. This stadium was built maybe less than 1 year ago, and it's already, you see it booming. And of course, it's a great soccer city already.
And this game was normally in Columbus, and now Columbus has a rival in Cincinnati to get these kind of games. There's a reason the USA plays in a stadium like this, in a city like this. We'll get into that a little bit later, but there's it's a big pot, and there's a lot of ingredients involved. We'll get into all those details. But more importantly, and I'll talk to both of you guys about this is a historic USA-Mexico because it might never be like this again. This is a World Cup qualifier. Keep in mind, in 4 years, they are all going to qualify. When I say all, USA, Mexico, and Canada. And then in 2030, who knows what the World Cup's going to look like? They're talking about expansion. We're going to have 48 teams in 2026. We might have 64 teams in 2030. So qualifying won't be the same. So we're going to hang on to this one, Mojado.
Oh, yes.
This is a big one.
This could be one of the last, like you said, 32 team World Cup. So, hey, I don't necessarily agree with that. Adding, 44, 48 teams? What is it?
You don't like the 48 teams, but you can't stop progress. It's going to happen.
Hey, well, you're right.
You got to talk to Infantino. Let him know our thoughts.
It's all about the money.
Infantino on the phone?
It's all about the money.
More games, more
dinero. Of course,
dinero.
it's all about money. It's all about this rivalry, and we've talked about it a lot, Ramon, about where it stands. Me personally, when I look at big football, soccer rivalries, obviously there's history. This is a lot of new history here, and then obviously you have how frequent you play each other. No one plays more than USA Mexico. So when you think of England, Scotland, Brazil, Argentina, they don't play as much as these two. I'm not saying it's Brazil, Argentina yet. I'm saying it's the second biggest rivalry to me because of everything I mentioned. What say you? Is it still a big top 5 national rivalry?
No, definitely. I think definitely top 5. I think it's one of those ones because of the cultural standpoint, socioeconomic, the amount of Hispanic, Mexican background
Yeah,
people
the
in
dual
the US.
nationals.
Dual nationals, exactly. It's just so big. It's so, like, you can't describe it. There's nowhere in the world where you have this sort of dynamic in a soccer game. And so, especially as the amount of games that they play every year, it's something that you have to watch out every single time they play.
It's the third time they met. Super. Where do you put this rivalry?
Listen,
Tell me first, is it in the top 5?
in the world, I wouldn't necessarily put it in.
Oh my
top
God!
five. I'm gonna put it in the
You're
top
wearing a
two.
USA
I'm gonna-
Mexico Lucha Libre mask, and you don't put this rivalry in the top 5.
No, man. There's so many other like games that I think that not necessarily because like what I like. I love this game, right? Because I'm from here, and if you ask people in America and in this continent, yes, they're gonna know about this game. But then if you go into Europe, people and you ask people over there, come on, man. I don't think they really know what this is about.
They probably don't. I know if you say USA Mexico top 5, they would laugh if we were in Germany or the Netherlands.
Yes,
I get
yes.
that. Where would you put it then? 6, 7, 10?
I guess yes, top 10
Top
definitely. Top 10.
Top 10, according to Super Mojado. We're in the top 10. We're at TQL Stadium. Look at this. Say we wouldn't make it. This is fantastic that we're here. And what do you guys think? We're gonna keep in line with the chats. See where you think USA Mexico, and keep your international hat on as to where it may lie. But I'm thinking, Super. Okay, let's go to Europe. Germany, Netherlands, England, Scotland. Wait, what am I missing? Belgium, Netherlands,
Spain. I mean, come on.
Spain, Portugal.
England,
Yeah, you're
France.
right. You're right.
Exactly. So there's a lot of other like great games out there that it's not the same. Their competition is a little bit different. But like you said earlier, they face each other a lot.
Okay.
So that's what it makes it more like.
I appreciate you being real. I appreciate you being real with all of this. Ramon, this is probably is because of those extra games. I mean, obviously in Europe they don't care about the Gold Cup.
No.
The Nations League, not the CONCACAF Nations League. The players are starting to get more in Europe. We know the U.S., for lack of a better word, invasion of young players playing for top European clubs and middle European clubs, a lot. But this is, I get the feeling in Europe they're learning more about this because of what's happening with these players. People know who Christian Pulisic is. In Amsterdam, they know who Edson Alvarez, that kind of stuff. That helps.
No, I think even the players themselves, they weren't aware of how the CONCACAF qualifying was going to be. So it's something new to the players as well, and they're bringing all that experience. They're bringing all that experience back to Europe with them. So I think it's a rivalry, whether Super agrees with it or not. I think it's top 5, even top 3. I think just because of how much fervor and how crazy it gets. We can see it here in the pitch. The American Outlaws are coming in. The U.S. supporters. We're going to have the Mexican supporters tomorrow. We're going to have some noise here as well. So you can't deny it, Super. Top 3 in my view.
Top 3. I'm with you.
Look at that.
I trust the guy with the Oakland Athletics hat.
Sure, never won
Not the
this.
guy with the USA Mexico split Lucha Libre mask.
All right. You guys got this one.
This place is very quiet. Obviously, the weather's a story. It was raining heavily. It stopped. It's like 60 degrees. It's going to drop to the 30s. Tomorrow's going to be cold for the game, but at least the rain's slowing down here at the pitch in Cincinnati, which we're thrilled to be in. Take a look at the standings. We are 6 games through World Cup qualifying. Mexico's in first, 14 points. They could really get in the driver's seat if they get a result here. The United States looking to beat Mexico a 3rd time this year. It would be incredible. They're not there yet. And Canada, who also play Mexico later in this cycle, are in 3rd. And Super, I will talk to you. How many teams do you think can actually finish in the top 3? I think right now it's Mexico, USA, Canada. Panama, I'm not sure. I think Jamaica can get up. So I would be shocked if it's not Mexico, USA, Canada who qualify, but you don't want to drop points here in Game 7 and 8
In
over
the
the next
history
week.
of one of the biggest rivalries in
definitely
football,
think that
it
they're
may
the
never
top
get this
3,
big again.
that have been doing the best so far.
The final USA-Mexico World Cup qualifier in the United States for 8 years has the stakes
top
high.
3, man. I call it.
From the beginning,
In
in that
that
order,
ordered meeting
Yes,
between
in that
these
order.
two neighbor
I was
rivals in
just, like,
2021,
in the fourth,
the USMNT taking the first
I guess,
2
like
and getting to lift trophies.
What is it? The bonus.
Friday in Cincinnati,
yeah,
the most
yeah.
important
Oh,
chapter
the fourth
of the
place,
year.
Yeah, the fourth
the
place.
USA go for
That
the
one I
sweep.
was
playoff
gonna say.
and 3
Yes,
for
I was
control
gonna say.
of the road
But,
to
who
Who did you
Qatar.
have in that?
It's
I
the
have Costa
L3
Rica.
Online
I put
Soccer
El
OG
Salvador to
USA
fight that
Mexico
stuff
preview
because,
show.
They obviously, it was a big fail for them. From what I saw in the Gold Cup, I thought they would have been there.
They're a little viejito.
But no,
Costa Rica or El Salvador?
No, El Salvador.
No, I like El Salvador.
They have a new generation of players that they did great things in the World Cup. So I was a little disappointed. Saludos to Mónica Delgado, that she's from El Salvador, and I would have loved to see that her team.
All the Salvadoreños out there,
yes.
you are welcome into El Tri Online and the Soccer OG. 6 games in, you look at the standings. Does it change a lot from what we're seeing right now? Mexico, USA, Canada.
I don't think so. I think it's like Super was saying, it's going to stay in those top 3. There may be some changes maybe in the top spot between the U.S. and Mexico, and tomorrow's going to determine that. We're going to see maybe this is going to be the time for either the U.S. to step up or Mexico to kind of go ahead a little bit more. But they have, I think Mexico has the toughest 2 games right now in the entire qualification cycle, because they not only do they play the U.S. tomorrow, but then they go over there to Canada. So we'll see if they can come out with 6 points. I think they got the first place
for Mexico.
Lock.
See, but that's what people say. I think Canada could finish first.
Wow.
I think welcome everyone coming into our preview show live stream here at El Tri Online, the Soccer OG, outside TQL Stadium at the pitch Cincy. This is going to be a real incredible place to be over the next 2 days. If you're in Cincinnati, pop on over. Let's grab a cold one. Super Mojado, we're going to have a boat race later. This is a universal sign for boat race.
I like those words.
So welcome on in. It's chilly. I went very neutral today, but I'm going to cover up with my jacket for good reason. We're talking about this rivalry. We're talking about the standings as well. Mexico struggled versus Canada the first time. Canada's a thorn in the side, and the thing that Canada and USA have that I think is going to complicate things for Mexico: athleticism, speed.
Yep.
So you look at how Mexico deal with it, and I know Tata Martino's, he's doing his press conference right now. He's got to be up thinking, how do I handle the speed of the U.S.?
So typically when Tata Martino plays like speedier sides, that's when he kind of goes to the technical players, the one that can control the ball, the one that can lock down the midfield and not have those loose balls or those turnovers, so that the defense can be in peril. So I think Mexico, honestly, I think maybe he may be looking at Guardado at least to settle the nerves for the first half, and then maybe make the changes at the end. So we'll see what kind of midfield Tata Martino, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I think that's how you deal with that speed. You make sure that the players in the midfield are technically sound, they have that confidence, and then they keep their composure for 90 minutes.
Play to your strength. Are you worried about the U.S. speed? I mean, I forgot, you're pluming for the U.S. Do you think the U.S. speed is going to be a big advantage, the athleticism, and how does Mexico deal with it?
No, I think it's going to be a very close game. My call was a tie. We're going to run into numbers later, but I'm going to call it a tie. What I do see is Mexico going to Canada and taking the 3 points. That's what I see.
It's going to be cold up there. I think they're playing in Edmonton, I believe. It's supposed to be in the 20s. You think Mexico's going to be all right with that?
I think they're going to be okay.
This is fascinating. USA, by the way, have to travel to Kingston, Jamaica, obviously, for their second game. Jamaica's looking better. They got Michael Antonio. They have Leon Bailey, all healthy and ready to go. So this should be a really interesting, not just first game, but second game coming out through. You got to keep that in consideration. And after these 2 games, 8. So do the math. 14 games, 8, past the halfway point.
No, it's going to be interesting. I think Jamaica, like you're saying, is healthy now. I think they're in the battle for that 4th place.
I think they finished 4th.
Costa Rica, like you're saying, a little bit old, not playing up to the potential. You saw that against the U.S. here. They went up, but then they just kind of crumbled down. And so it's just, I don't know. I don't see it. And then Panama, they're hit and miss. So I think Jamaican can lock it down.
I like Panama, but I think they're a cycle away. They got some good young players. I like Barcenas and a few others. The Costa Rica game, people say it was a good win, but there was that turnover. Remember when Brian Ruiz turned it over and he was one-on-one with the keeper and he had 40 yards to run, and then he just started running out of steam, and then Miles Robinson came across and knocked the ball away. If that was a faster player, Costa Rica scores and that game ends 2-2. The Viejitos came into play.
Yes. No, and don't be surprised that for the standings to end up just like this. I see this happening. Right now, the way we see it, that's the way it could end, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We have a lot of team news, and a lot of team news for the U.S. coming through. We're going to look at the lineup now. Yes, we're going to look at the lineup. So I'm going to give you 2 items of news that Greg Berhalter addressed today. The first one being Christian Pulisic will not start. This was my projected 11 that I filed 2 days ago, and I'm confident with one exception. With Pulisic not starting, that's obviously going to open the door for Paul Arriola is going to start. I know some people are going to roll their eyes. You think Tim Weah will get in there. I spoke to Heath Pierce, former U.S. international. He made a really good point. Greg Berhalter is looking at a guy that he knows will give a 7 ranking of a game. 7 out of 10. Tim Weah could give him a 9, or he could give him a 5. He wants that consistent. He knows what Paul Arriola will do. The midfield, Adams, McKennie, and Musa have developed a nice chemistry. Gianluca Busio, keep an eye on him. I think he is coming on very strong. He has checked every box to become a featured player for the U.S. And then I saw the back four. I think Zimmerman plays alongside of Miles Robinson. Miles Robinson's locked in. And then you have Anthony Robinson's locked in on the left. It could be DeAndre Yedlin. It could be Reggie Cannon. And I think Joe Scally's the most complete right back. But he's 18. And that 11 of mine has 3 18-year-olds. I don't think Greg Berhalter's going to play 3 18-year-olds. Scally might be the odd one out. But common sense, maybe it's Yedlin instead of Scally. But you never know. You want to throw in guys, right, that may take your opposing manager off guard.
Yeah, no, and Yedlin, he has the experience. He's played Mexico for a number of years now. I think he may be a good person to start there. Arriola, like you're saying, I listened to the podcast, Soccer OG, so check him out.
My number one listener, this guy. I love him.
And I love the point
on the other hand.
that Tim Heath made was that, with Tim Weah, it's either a 5 or a 9, or even a 10. But if you get that 5, then that leaves you exposed, going back on that transition. So is Arriola going to give you a better game? He'll give you a decent game. He'll cover all the bases, but do you want to go for it, or do you want to kind of stand back a little bit and take that chance? So we'll see tomorrow.
Let's do the 11. Is this...
That's mine. That's mine on the screen.
Don Ramon.
Ramon, go through your 11, and then Supermodel, you follow up.
All right, so we'll start in the back line with Ochoa. I think that's, no question about it. He's going to be the starter for Mexico. He has shown it throughout the entire year here. We have on the left side Gallardo. Now, Moreno, I just got some breaking news right now. He may not be playing tomorrow. So that back line for Mexico has been decimated by injury. So Moreno might not be there. Super is saying Sepulveda might be able to fill in for there. And then
going down the picking order.
Yep.
No, that's what the rumor is. Again, we won't see this until tomorrow, depending on how Moreno, recovers or not. And the possibility of Tiva playing this game, that he wasn't on the list.
He wasn't even on the starting on the 23.
No, the 23. So they ended up bringing him. They brought 2 players because the injury.
Yeah.
But
so
the only other thing that I would change, I think he's gonna go with Romo instead of Orbelin.
Got it.
That's what I see.
I can see that as well.
But everything else, I agree with you.
Neither of you said Guardado, so
I don't think so, man.
Does he come in the second half?
Listen, you talk about that speed. If he puts Guardado in, that's where he's really gonna suffer because of the speed.
Because you have Edson there. He'll cover a lot of the ground there. He's shown it with Ajax. He's shown it in the Champions Leagues. But if you have Hector Herrera, and then you have Guardado, I don't think you have that speed in the midfield.
I think the U.S. licks their chops if they see Guardado and Herrera come out. You mentioned no Cesar Montes, which goes to show.
Cesar Montes got injured last weekend. Yeah.
How far down the pecking order do they have to go for this?
They have Sepulveda, they have Johan Vazquez, they have Cata Dominguez. So I don't know. I think Tata Martino, if Moreno's not ready to go, he might be in some trouble tomorrow.
Well, I don't necessarily see it. I'm not too worried about that. I think these guys are, especially in these are special games.
This will be their first ever game, though. World Cup qualification, listen, Johan Vazquez.
Maybe. But
against
even better,
the US?
you get to put your heart in there. You put your best effort. So that's what I'm expecting to see.
Listen, I understand Vasquez being in there because of the injuries, but I 2 weeks ago would have never thought I would see his name in a projected 11 for Mexico.
He's been playing great for Genoa.
Yeah, he's placed in the Serie A. He's been good, but that's a bit of a surprise. And there's also guys that may have to move in centrally. Cata Dominguez is a guy who can kind of go central, maybe right back. He played right back against El Salvador.
Yeah.
But the
you can even slide
Edson.
You can put Alvarez. You can slide him down a little bit more. Have the wings.
If
go
you
up.
brought him down there, who would you bring in the midfield?
Oh man, I think at that point,
Guardado?
Guardado.
Charlie Rodriguez.
Charlie could do it. So.
It's like we're trying to avoid getting Guardado. I know Tata Martino loves putting Andres Guardado, and I truly believe he's going to find a way to get in there.
But after that game against Canada, though, that's when he saw that maybe it's not a good thing to put him as a starter anymore.
Maybe you shouldn't call him in, though. I mean, it sounds terrible.
Well, that's my opinion too.
For this, you're playing USA and Canada, so Andres Guardado doesn't really fit in either of these games, right?
No, I definitely don't see him getting possibly maybe 10
I don't know.
minutes
I don't know
or
if he
so.
can do 90. But if Mexico's up in the second half, that's when Guardado
Yes.
for sure we'll see him in, just to control the game a little bit more. But this is what happens. This is why you need the young players. You know, the U.S. has no problem getting the 18, 19-year-olds to start a World Cup qualification game. If Mexico loses Moreno, loses Guardado, who's the other guy? Who's the reliable person?
They didn't bring a lot of young players, right? That was kind of the criticism against Tata, that he didn't bring in, I just thought off my head because I'm thinking the MLS guys, Julian Araujo, even David Ochoa, some of these younger guys, he's told them, your time will come.
When?
But
these are the games.
This is
these
the
are
time
the
for
games.
young players,
But
not
that
to
was
start, but to be on the squad.
But that was an MLS call. You know, the teams they said no, and it was surprising to me because it's a you know, FIFA you know, schedule. You have to release your players.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they got around that.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting eliminated. You know, so it's like
Fair enough. It's a fascinating game. We just don't know. We don't know, and that's why tomorrow, by the way, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, ESPN2, Univision TUDN, Inglés en Español, so you have you covered, 9 o'clock. They do a great job, both of them. We're looking forward to seeing it. If you're not here, obviously, seeing it on the great partners they have there for U.S. Soccer and El Tri here in the U.S. Let's take a look at the schedule now, and this is what lies ahead. This is this is kind of the first part of qualifying. It's going to stop here in November, and then January, where you have a 3-game window from January 27th to February 2nd, and then you have a 3-game window in March. So this is a tough window for the U.S., and Ramon will look at that. January, they'll have a game at Canada. I think Canada's going to probably be favored to win there the way they're going. It could be huge, but you have the 2 home games against El Salvador and Honduras. And then they have the game in Azteca, and we're hoping to be there, maybe outside the Azteca. We'll bring an oxygen mask, whatever's required.
Get the Coke in the bag, you know, slurp it up.
That's what you said. That game, they might be both qualified. If they're not, it's a problem.
Yeah, and that's what I was noticing too. If the U.S. can take care of business, Mexico as well, maybe it won't mean as much to, you know, have that game at the Azteca. But, you know, if they both kind of, you know, are wounded, they don't play well against Canada, which is, I think Canada's the key. You know, if both of these teams can play well against Canada, get their points, they're not going to worry towards the end of the qualification. But if they both lose to them, that's when that game at the Azteca is going to mean a lot of things for both teams. So definitely, you have to take care of business.
It will mean a lot, regardless. But I'd be really surprised if the USA and Mexico, if they haven't got their ticket, they'd be a point away. But I think they'll have their tickets by then. I think Canada will have their ticket. They may not finish in that order, but those are the 2-3 teams, which should be great. And you know, we love to see Honduras. Costa Rica made a quarterfinal in 2010. We love to see those teams in the World Cup, but they're going through cycles. The strongest teams are always going to be Mexico, USA, and now Canada with these great young players.
Yeah, and I mean, Honduras has just been a disaster.
They're the worst.
It's been a disaster. And,
worst team in the
Costa Rica,
octagonal.
you said, you know, that they're just getting old, man. And they need that fresh blood.
They didn't bring in the young.
And I don't know. I don't see it. Can you guys name any young Costa Rican players that you
just
know?
play them.
I can't.
But you're not going to qualify, so just play them. You're not going to. You need to get Celso Borges and Brian Ruiz Morguez. Just play them, even if they're not.
I mean, you can put that a little bit parallel
level
to Mexico as well, because they're not trusting the young guys. They're not bringing them in up. So that's what happens, though.
That we do have young players. We have, you know, and I'm not too worried about, you know, that generation that is coming, because I see a lot of talent there. We saw what happened in the Olympics.
I could see it happening to Mexico, especially with Canada getting better, with having Alfonso Davis and the other striker, I think he plays in France, just getting better and better. In the U.S., I feel like they're never going to run out of talent now. It's insane.
Well, Greg Berhalter gets criticism too. He said they have the players, they have the good young players, but many times he sticks to the guys that he can trust. Sebastian Lletget, Paul Arriola, Jossie Zardes, who's not here, but those 4 or 5 guys that you can rely on. They're his guys, but they haven't got the young players all in. But you don't want to bring a super young team in here either. It's a dilemma. Although I'm sure Greg Berhalter feels confident about the guys. Let's take a look now at the Mexico schedule. So they are at USA, at Canada. I mean, that is the hardest stretch for any team, really. And then at Jamaica in the next window. That is.
And that's when the health factor is going to come in, because this is such a compressed World Cup qualification schedule that if you get a knock like Moreno has, you don't know if he's going to be there, and he's your guy in the back line. So especially against the U.S. and then a few days from now in Canada, if you don't have your main guy in the defense, that may hurt you a little bit. So it's definitely going to take its toll.
But I think this next 3 games are going to be key because they're away games.
Yeah.
Because the last 4 games, I think 4 out of the last 5 games are at home for Mexico. So if they can get some good results in this Fecha FIFA, I think they're in, man.
No, definitely.
Or
at least in the top 3.
The rule is win at home, tie on the road. But if you get 3 points at USA, at Canada, and Jamaica, they'll probably be after Tata's job. But I think that's a pretty good run to get that, right?
Yeah,
to get that, that's pretty good.
No, I think they'll be cruising at that point.
Here we go. So there's a lot playing it. We got the news about Pulisic and Stefan. Now this news about Hector Moreno. Who knows by tomorrow morning what it's going to look like. But this is a huge spot here for these national teams. We're here outside TQL Stadium. Thrilled to be here in Cincinnati. The folks have been first class. And we're here at the pitch. Come by the pitch today or tomorrow. It's going to be crazy tomorrow. It's going to be crazy later tonight. So I had to slip in here afternoon hours. They have all the games. They got the UEFA qualifiers. They'll have the South American qualifiers. It's a wonderful place. And Kaidus, who led us, all the thanks to him for bringing us in here. We continue to discuss this game here. And for USA, I think I want to talk about an article that I read. Last name Bushnell, I forgot the first name, I should have pulled it up here, for Yahoo Sports, and about USA's perspective of playing here. You're going to get a good home field advantage. It's going to be a pro-USA crowd. There's a possibility you could have played this at the biggest stadium. This is 26,000 seats. You could have played it at an 80,000 seat stadium, made some money. But U.S. soccer, especially after what happened 4 years ago, has to be explicit. They also don't want a lot of Mexico fans, which I can understand, but there's also an opportunity to feel confident of where you can qualify. So speaking of dilemmas, Ramon, this is one. Would I like to see this at 70,000 seat stadium? Yes. There's a dollar sign attached to it for the U.S., which all these federations need money into the windfall. But it would also sign that you feel confident. And we were in Denver. We saw USA Mexico, and it was like 50-50. Yeah. And it was incredible there. And the U.S. still felt it's not going to feel like this, but it felt like a home field advantage enough. Yeah. And they got the result.
No, definitely. I mean, if you ask me, Ramon, where do you want to have this game? SoFi Stadium, L.A. Get me out in the sun. Get me in that brand new
That's
stadium.
That's where they're going to have the World Cup final, by the way, in 2026. You heard it here first.
He's calling it.
SoFi Stadium. Mark it.
But you know why they don't have those
exactly.
Because, anywhere else you go in the States, it's like Mexico.
And even if you read that article, he kind of highlighted exactly, how the tickets were distributed, which at first went to the U.S. Soccer Insiders, the members of those, and then it went to the the supporting groups like the American Outlaws and stuff like that. There were no general public sale for these tickets, so that means that all these Mexican fans that are coming in, it's either through the resale market or they have to be some sort of member of this group. So it's crazy the lengths that the U.S. is going to make sure that they have that home field advantage, because anywhere else, if you go to New Jersey, New York, L.A., Phoenix, where I'm from, you're going to get Mexican fans. So you got to do everything to stop them, because we're going to get there.
Are we going to get a game in Phoenix? USA, Mexico? Probably not.
No. I want them to bring them to Connecticut, but, we only probably...
Rentschler Field up there? Yeah. Wasn't that where Landon Donovan played his last game? I believe he did.
Yeah, so...
I'm going to stop some slander here. Hugo Chavez? What did I say, Hugo Chavez? Better than Landon Donovan? No.
Who
did I say? Hugo Chavez?
We were talking about that earlier. Hugo Chavez is because he saw me.
I was going to say Chavez.
Hugo Chavez definitely not better than Landon Donovan.
How do you know?
I apologize.
How do you know my uncle, Max? What are you doing?
Yo, man.
Henry Bushnell, who did the article, so thank you for that. Hugo Sanchez, Real Madrid legend,
there you go.
Coming in there better than Landon Donovan. Maybe he played at the bigger clubs. When it came to the national team, Landon was a highlight reel. Landon, I'm sticking up for you here. We're not going to listen to him. We're not going to do Mojado. Defend Hugo Chavez. I'm just kidding. Defend Hugo Sanchez.
2 words. 5 pichichis.
That's pretty big time.
No,
that's all I need to say.
I'm gonna put it this way: 3 galaxies away.
MLS champion. What did Hugo Sanchez do?
But nobody, in games like this, nobody came bigger than Landon Donovan, so it was thrilling to see it here. You say yes? Let's get, okay.
Our producer will get
this
some
is to
good
me.
topics.
This is to me the biggest talking point for Mexico, because everyone says about the back line and how it could be exposed. But if you have a nice gate, a nice double pivot in front of there, you can protect them. And if it gets overrun, it'll be a problem. So I just think that midfield's decision is going to be massive, is who's going to get in there.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think sometimes what we forget about the midfield is that we need that creativity. I think with Raúl Jiménez coming back as well, that's going to help them out a little bit, take that pressure off of them. But is Guardado enough? Does he have the legs for 90 minutes? I don't think so. So it's just something that, I think that this is going to make or break the game. Is he going to pick it, or is he just going to ride it out with someone else?
I like the Charlie Rodriguez shout.
Yeah.
I did it, but Orbelín has been great. So you got to find. I feel like you have to find.
I don't know about Romo. I know Super wants him in there.
Well, yeah, no.
What about Guardado? Give me back. I feel like we've been crushing Andres Guardado, but he's been incredible. He's been a legend for this team. He passes the ball like no one else.
Guardado is gonna do a great job being as assistant coach in this next World Cup. That's
what he's here for. He's here to be an assistant coach.
Look at him. He puts that mask on. He's a different guy.
Hey, man,
Who is this? Who is this guy?
No, seriously, man. I mean, it's happening. The same thing is happening. What happened when Rafa Marquez was in the end of his career.
That's true.
And it was Piojo, right? That he insisted in bring him to Brazil, right? That's what he was. And look what happened.
He got the goal against Croatia. Yeah.
Listen, Mexico had a horrible qualifying back in Brazil, but once they got there,
yes,
this close. Should have made the quarterfinals. And I was telling our producer, Joe Rodriguez, if they made the quarterfinals,
should have made the semifinals.
They would have played Costa Rica. And I'm not saying they beat Costa Rica, but I am saying they beat Costa Rica. Could have been a semifinal.
Yeah.
People say when a CONCACAF team is going to win a World Cup. And it may never happen. But we've seen two instances. First with the 2010 with Costa Rica, that you could have had a team a game away from making a World Cup semi or final. And the USA in 2002 beat Germany.
They beat Germany.
They beat Germany, although it didn't say that. They would have been in the semifinal and played South Korea. And then all of a sudden you could have been a game away from a final. So you just need some good fortune, some serendipity, but it could happen.
And then you saw Mexico 2014 as well.
Yeah.
The no era penal, incident. That didn't happen. They could have faced Costa Rica and then beat them semifinal.
That was all Marquez. And,
oof.
And listen.
Oof.
And what do you think? What do you think? Okay. What do you think is? I mean, do you see Guardado? Just imagine this World Cup. Your chance to go to the quinto partido, and he gets to take a penalty kick.
Oh my God! Oh no! Why are you putting me through this?
Let's take a closer look at Andres Guardado. Let's take a closer look at what he provides. That's a lot of games. You can't underestimate what being a good leader is all about. Both these teams could use leadership. I think the USA in particular is really grasping at someone that can be the guy who takes the team by the scruff of the neck. They don't have that. Yeah. Mexico does, but you have to concede a few things. Goals and assists, they're there. The minutes, wow.
Over 12,000.
An average record against the United States in big games. But this is a big game coming up. He had a taste of it over the summer, but this is the biggest one. Look, the USA won the 2 trophies. If Mexico wins this in Cincinnati, all that momentum's gone, and Mexico's back in the driver's seat. It is a fact. Now, if USA wins it, Mexico is in hot water. Tata's in hot water. Everything changes, even though they'd still be technically top of the group with the USA on points.
No, and I think you're exactly right. If we get the win tomorrow, if Mexico wins the game tomorrow, and it's a nice win where everybody kind of takes a deep breath, we'll definitely forget about what happened this summer. I was there at the Nations League. That was the most heartbreaking thing I've seen in a while. And then when Mexico lost against the U.S. in the Gold Cup, that was another disappointing loss. But if we get that W today, we stay at the top of the group. Nobody's going to care about them.
Fantastic. And we want to thank everyone who's rolling into the live stream. A lot of old friends. Great to see you. We appreciate the support. A lot of new listeners. Come on in and enjoy it. Our partnership with El Tri Online, the Soccer OG. I've been in this business for 25 years. I got to tell you, creating videos on YouTube has been as fulfilling as anything. It's been fun. It's been therapeutic to talk about this stuff. In particular, USA-Mexico, which is my favorite topic. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we want to give a great put on a great show, and we have a crack staff. We have a big crew here that's been able to put it. They've been all over Cincinnati working their tails off, so I hope you're enjoying it, and we couldn't have a better backdrop. You enjoy this YouTube, right?
This is awesome, man. This is awesome. Thanks to the El Trio Online for making this happening, and for you being with us. Max.
Someone's got to drive this car.
Yeah, so no, this is great, man. This is great. I really hope to see a great game tomorrow.
It's going to be great in some way, shape, or form. There's going to be an intensity, as we pointed out. Obviously 4 years ago when the U.S. was struggling, 8 years ago when Mexico was struggling in qualifying, it's illuminated because all of a sudden you're thinking, we may not make the World Cup. The USA didn't make the World Cup. Both of them are comfortably in, but you could find yourself in a position. I would be stunned if both these teams fall out of the top 4 or out of the top 3, but you never know. Injuries, suspensions, those things start to add up.
No, definitely. And the thing about this game is that, and we touched on it a little bit earlier today, is that we may not see another game like this for a very, very long time. 2030 qualification, if it does happen, I'll be in my mid-30s by that point, man, and
wow.
it's crazy.
Thanks a lot for pointing that out.
That's the thing. I'm enjoying the atmosphere.
I'm in my late 40s doing YouTube with kids that haven't hit
come on, you love us.
30s.
You love
it, but what am I doing here?
Oh my God, you're at one of the last World Cup qualification games between Mexico and the U.S.
I'm very honored to be with you guys.
This is history right here.
This is a historic game, obviously. I will also add, I'd say we don't know what's going to happen, but once a 14-game qualification period, and remember the old hex was 10 games. So now you have 14 games. The teams with deeper rosters, more players, they're going to do well, and it's indicated in the standings. If Jamaica or Panama was really going to make a push, they should have made it already.
Yeah,
it could still happen. You get a couple wins under your belt, but it just doesn't really. I don't see it here, Super.
No, like I said, I see this ending like just like the way it is. And Panama is a team that they've been doing good qualifiers in the past 2 to 3 qualifiers where they've been there. Like they give hard times to Mexico and U.S.
Yes.
So Panama is a good team.
Panama, Costa Rica, Honduras, it's all cyclical. We look to see them coming back and CONCACAF getting stronger. I think we overvalued the strength of this 8 teams. When we came in, I even said it myself, this is going to be hard. But Honduras, Costa Rica, El Salvador's on the up and up, but they're still a little bit away, and same with Panama. So maybe it wasn't as strong as we thought. Jamaica have had issues with getting players here. COVID obviously is a big deal, and that's been a problem for all these teams. So it hasn't quite hit, and I think that's it. I know it's benefited Mexico, USA, and Canada. We know a lot of folks like to throw a little money on these games. It makes it a lot of fun. It's not really for me, but I enjoy talking about it. So we're going to show you some of the odds here, and we were talking about that's a nice number for the U.S., right, Ramon? If you played $100, you're gonna walk away with 180,
which is not bad. I think it's pretty even across the board. So whatever option you pick, I definitely, I wouldn't feel too bad about it. But I
know
think
people are gonna go to that draw.
Well,
yeah, it seems like the smart money.
Right now, so far I have the better ads.
So technically, the U.S. Mexico is a little bit favored, just by a smidge. Then if anything, though, Super Max, I would bet on the U.S. That's my prediction, 2-1 today. If I'm putting $100, I'm gonna put it on the U.S. They've done everything they can to get all their fans here, and they're in Cincinnati. It's gonna be cold. Mexican players are not gonna be used to it.
This is, by the way, for entertainment purposes, and these were the odds from earlier today, so they are subject to change if you are familiar with odds and gambling and sports books. We had some prop bets we liked. If both players score, Pepe and Lozano, I love this one. For plus 900, Pepe and Lozano to me are the 2 likely scorers. You pair them together,
go home with $1,000.
What about Super? I mean, a little walk around money for you?
Yes. Let's do it.
To get you back home, so you don't have to slip into rivers.
Some nice Skyline chili here. You can afford it in Cincinnati.
We haven't had Skyline chili yet.
We'll
have to have it
whole
tonight.
bar of the chili here. So.
First team to score, Mexico plus 100. Not really crazy. The total goals, if you can see, I like the 4 total. I think there will be goals here. We had 1 set up, then we had 3-2 in the Nations League final. I would throw some money on 4 goals. It's worth the payoff. I mean, whether it's $10, whether a little bit more. I mean, don't get caught up with the gambling and your heart, right?
Yeah, call a number if you need help.
Don't put your house deed for sure.
Don't put it out. Don't be a huge
As he does it on his phone.
USMNT fan like Super Mojado and then bet $500 on Mexico. But that's it. It's another layer to all this. And, you know, as we know about Las Vegas and the sports books, they know. They don't want to lose their money. They take your money instead. But you can take a look at that. Ricardo Pepi is a huge story. I wanted to touch on him and the dual nationals. He was interviewed, and just some context about him. He's from El Paso, and if you've been down there, it's right on the Mexican border, the other side of Ciudad Juarez. A lot of people who live in El Paso spend a lot of time in Ciudad Juarez, and vice versa. It is really living in two countries on a day-to-day basis. The dual nationals have come out. David Ochoa chose Mexico. Julian Araujo chose Mexico. And then Ricardo, and there's more and more. They're coming in, and there's big decisions. Ricardo Pepi chose the U.S. There's a lot here, Ramon will talk about it. It's about playing time. If he was with Mexico, and I'm not saying this is the decision, but that's something they have to think. If he was with Mexico, he is probably sitting behind Rogelio Funes Mori and Raul Jimenez.
Yeah.
But that was not part of his decision. He did this. He wanted to go to the U.S. He was very clear that this country gave his family an opportunity. The way he performs, and if he scores against Mexico, it would be insane. And it could happen, and you can only imagine the emotions he's going to feel. But if it goes well and he shows a pathway, and he shows that the U.S. soccer will take care of you, even if you are from Mexican family, that's a game changer, and who knows?
No, that's one of the things I do want to applaud Greg Berhalter for doing is that recruiting. Insane recruiting, especially someone like Ricardo Pepi, which, you know, is linked to Bayern Munich and all these teams. And the U.S. just plucked them out of Mexico because he was part of the Mexican youth system. And, you know, now he's starting against Mexico. That is insane. And so we'll see how Ricardo Pepi is. Shout out to the 915. I know El Paso's over there. El Paso. And they got a big soccer culture over there. So for Ricardo Pepi, who grew up right on the border, and if you know anything about El Paso and Juarez, is that basically there's no border there. Everybody goes back and forth.
And go back and forth.
Exactly. And so for Ricardo Pepi to choose the U.S. is something amazing. And, you know, I wish them the best. He said in an interview that he still considers himself Mexican, even though if he plays for the U.S. And I wish him the best. Now, do I want him to score tomorrow? No. But I wish him the best in all the other games. So we'll see what happens.
Super wants him to score tomorrow.
I just think that he made the right choice because in Mexico, even when you're the top scorer for the national team, they won't call you.
He'd probably be watching the game from home. Yeah.
He possibly would. I think they call him in, but
you know, like I said,
and he talked about how U.S. soccer put the time in to recruit him, to tell him you're wanted here. This is your home, and he responded in turn. And it goes to show that because there's been a perception that U.S. soccer doesn't pay attention. Is there work to be done in that? Absolutely. But with Ricardo Pepi, they nailed it.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I think he has a lot of potential. So
you're not there yet. You're like, pump the brakes. We should all pump the brakes on an 18-year-old.
Well, if we want to talk about like similar experiences, that David Ochoa had a great article when he decided to play for Mexico, and he highlighted the fact that maybe he didn't feel as comfortable, or maybe the U.S. Federation didn't really go after him that much as he wanted, or didn't feel at home. But as soon as he was with the Mexican team, he felt like he was there, and so that was one of the reasons that he chose to play for Mexico. So what's the difference? What happened between Ricardo Pepi and David Ochoa that they both had different experiences? They chose one chose the U.S. and the other one chose Mexico. So it's interesting.
It's a very personal decision, and we're not here to overstep our bounds. This is something that these players have decided what's best for them. Playing time is very secondary. I think David Ochoa and some of these guys thought they could get that, but that is secondary here. It's the choice you do it because you have to live with it. It's a tough decision. I mean, that's going to tear apart for you. He's going to hear it every day. He said, well, why don't you play for Mexico? Or why don't you play for the USA, your friends, your family? It's part of the why it pushes this rivalry higher. The dual nationals, to me, which is you don't see, and I don't want to speak out of turn, you don't see that in some of these other rivalries. And that makes it a very unique perspective that builds this rivalry a little higher.
Yeah, no, and it's very tough on players like that with Mexican descent being born here, because there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure, and you're gonna get criticized either way. If whoever you pick is like, you know, you're gonna get that heat, you know. And look at me. I mean, they called me for the U.S. They called me for El Tri, but you know,
they did you?
Yeah, so you know.
Is this true? I did not know that.
Something with his knee. So
Super
Oh wait,
Mojado.
I think it was just a dream. I'm sorry.
It was all a dream. I can see him. He's
Career
kind of
mode.
like a defensive midfielder. Will get in there. Little Chicho Serna, Colombiano. It's just sprinkle it in the big pot of USA-Mexico. I love this rivalry so much. It's very personal. I'm here with El Tri Online, and these are Buena Gente. I love these guys. We want to thank everyone who's tuning in. Welcome into our live stream, our preview show. A reminder, game is 9:10 Eastern Time, ESPN2, TUDN, Univision. We are at the pitch. Come to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is absolute charm, beautiful architecture. The arts are in play, got nice places to eat, a lot of great German food, Dutch, Belgian food. And come to the pitch, first class place. We're gonna get a pint here a little bit later. I was gonna even say Andres here, go get us some frosty cold ones. He's like, oh, let's do it. This place is filling up. We got to make a little room here at some place. We've taken like half the space. They've been very, very kind. Prediction time. I've changed my prediction like 800 times, so I'm going to hold off. I'm going to change it one more time. Super Mojado.
Well, I'm gonna say it again. 2-2, a draw. So a lot of goals.
come
Get
on,
that
man.
4-goal
Look
picking.
Look
Get
at
that
his
4-goal parlay.
Look at his mask. Look at his mask. He just doesn't want to take any sides today. So I respect that. I respect that.
All right. I'll just show my true colors. Ahí está.
Okay, I gotta go USA. I'm going 2-1 USA. 2-1 USA. Ricardo Pepi and Christian Pulisic scores off the bench. Boom.
I think 2-1 U.S. Mexico has a lot of questions in the back line.
I think Mexico's got a lot of questions.
Yeah, exactly. Midfield. So we'll see. If
They didn't have questions like this a week ago, but the questions are going like this.
exactly.
I'm losing fingers with all the questions.
All the injuries are piling up. So I think Pepe with the first one. I think McKennie with the second one.
So there you go, predictions. I hope I didn't jinx it. But we even got a 2-2 out of Mojado. Super Mojado. You have to put the words together. It just doesn't work.
Yes, man.
Otherwise-
I was just about to
Here's
say, man.
Mojado.
What happened?
Otherwise,
In case you know, Mojado's wet. Super wet. You can leave that for
Oh.
yourself.
Okay.
I'm just-
you didn't
we
have
have an
to
English-speaking
when
audience.
you explain it doesn't sound right.
ETO.
I know it doesn't sound right.
Just say Super Mojado. That's
Super
it.
Mojado. Super
after
Mojado, big star in the Lucha Libre circuit, Triple A. Fought Lismark at the Tijuana Convocation Center. That
Consejo
doesn't
Mundial.
exist. Don't look for it.
At the under 4 feet wrestling match.
Thank God we have the stools. Tremendous. We everyone again chiming in. We're so thrilled to be here. This is a labor of love. A lot of hard work going in there, but to be here is very, very special. And we're looking forward to maybe be there in March at Estadio Azteca. I have had Mexico City on my list forever. It's just, I'm not going there obviously for beaches. I'm not going there to relax. I'm going there to eat.
Oh, beaches. Okay.
Beaches.
okay. La playa, la playa, la playa.
Wait, you haven't
shouldn't
been,
have translated
you haven't-
Mojado.
You haven't been there?
No, I have, but I haven't been in a while. But I was a kid.
Okay.
But I want to go and I just want to eat. I want to eat 5 times a day.
All right. Yeah, that's
No,
good.
al pastor
You're from
adobada.
Jalisco, so you.
No, I'm from Oaxaca.
Oaxaca, sorry.
The land of the grasshoppers. Los
Oaxaca, what?
chapulineros.
Chapulines.
Oaxaca is a mole, right?
No, that's Puebla.
To the Mexican
Wait,
audience,
are
I
we-
apologize. Don't
He's
hate
learning.
me.
He's
I'm
just-
learning.
he's learning with
Puebla.
We have good mole too in
Oaxaca is good.
Yes, we definitely have good
Oaxaca's
mole.
The
beautiful.
Jalisco food is good. It's all very good. But Mexico City, the taquerias, I can't wait to go there. We've covered a lot of ground. We've got to cover a lot. All right, folks. Make sure checking out TQL Stadium, 9:10 Eastern Time, USA, Mexico. It won't be like this moving forward, at least not in the U.S. And maybe the game in Mexico will be done and dusted with qualifying. So soak it all in. Top 3 rivalry in the world, according to 2 of us. Top 2, according to me. And we just want to thank everyone here in Cincinnati who made this possible. I want to thank Joe Rodriguez, Eddie Andres, doing a fantastic job. Super Mojado doesn't get any better. I'll be wearing that mask later if I get a couple beers. Come out to the pitch. Let's have a beer. Come by, have a beer. We'll have a nice beer. Ramon Chavez, the best. This guy is a rising star. If you're hiring in sports, Ramon Chavez, he won't wear the Oakland A's hat. That was a fashion choice for today.
I asked if it was okay. I was like, they're like, go ahead for it. I'm like, okay.
This is just the beginning, and then we have to do it all again in 3 days' time. USA will travel to Jamaica. Mexico travels to Canada. And we're going to know a whole lot more about the World Cup and the road to Qatar. All over the world.
Everybody.
We're about to sign off. Any last words?
No, I just want to shout out to all my peeps back there in Phoenix, Arizona. I know we're not going to get a World Cup game, to the joy
We're
of someone
trying.
here, but
we got to get something out west. All this Ohio
gotta
business.
do some stuff. sunny over there. And shout out to Deportivo del Valle over there from Phoenix.
Super.
Hey, just the same thing. Shout out to all my Bristol, Connecticut people out there watching, and I'm over here representing. All right, mira.
That's
Ahí
right.
está.
U.S. Soccer. Let's get a game in Phoenix for my guy.
Come on.
Not asking a lot. It could be USA versus Barbados. Let's get one in there. Maybe not 70,000 seats. Maybe USA, Mexico. Have a good night, everyone. Enjoy the game, folks, and stay tuned to El Trio Online and the Soccer OG, Max Pretos. For all the latest, we'll have videos after the game and leading into the next. That's what we do.